Hello everyone, my name is Soumika. I am working as a guest faculty in chemistry at TTWRDC MEN Sangareddy. Today I would like to explain about chemistry of zero group elements. Already we know these zero group elements or 18th group elements or noble gases. We are having 6 elements in this one. Those are helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and last one is the radon. All these are gases. Next one, these noble gases, already we know the 6 elements are helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. Next, these elements like helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon, they have inappropriate names like inert gases, rare gases, zero group elements, but they are showing one appropriate name, that is noble gas. See, all these gases are chemically unreactive. They form very few compounds because of they are termed as noble gases. Due to the less chemical reactivity, they are calling as a noble gases. And in this one, all the noble gases except radon occur in the atmosphere. Why? Because the radon, that is one of the radioactive element that is prepared from the radium. Okay, the radioactive decay of the radium, that will gives us radon. See, in this one, argon, that is no more abundance, and their atmospheric abundance in the dry air, that is 1% by the volume. This radon, this is obtained as a decay, radioactive decay of the product of 226 radium. See here, alpha decay is taking place. As a result, we are getting the radon, that is a radioactive element with one alpha particle. Next one, this Neil Bartlett. He was a chemist scientist. Neil Bartlett, he prepared one compound, that is a red compound, which is formulated as O2 plus PtF6 minus, that is dioxygenyl hexafluoroplatinate 5. See here, the platinum F6, this is in the gaseous state reacting with the oxygen, which is in the gaseous state. It is forming O2 plus PtF6 minus. The compound is a red solid. Here the platinum F6 is a deep red color compound. Next, then the Neil Bartlett, he realized that the first ionization of oxygen, that is 1175 kilojoules per mole, that was equal to the xenon ionization energy, that is xenon ionization energy equals to 1170 kilojoules per mole. He attempted and made some type of another, this is not red color, this is yellow orange crystal solid, that is prepared by the Neil Bartlett. He prepared this xenon plus platinum F6 compound, F6 minus compound, by using xenon gas. This xenon gas, or which is in the elemental state, is reacted with the platinum F6. This platinum hexafluoride, which is in the red color, these two will react at room temperature and they are forming the compounds like this. So in this one, we are forming one compound, that is xenon plus platinum F6 minus. This is in the yellow orange crystal, and after the discovery of these, a number of xenon compounds, mainly with the electronegative elements like oxygen, fluorine, these are having electronegative character. These xenon compounds reacting with these electronegative elements, and they are produced or they are forming different types of xenon compounds. Next, atomic and physical properties of group P18 elements. First, electronic configuration. The electronic configuration, that is Ns2Np6. This one is the general electronic configuration of the group P18 elements except helium. Why? Because the helium having electronic configuration equals to 1s2. Only 2 electrons present in this helium. Coming to ionization enthalpy, the ionization enthalpy down the group, that is decreasing. As a result, the atomic number increases, the atomic radii also increases, but the ionization energy is decreasing. See here, the helium that is containing ionization energy 2372. Neon that is having 2080 ionization enthalpy or ionization energy. Due to stable configuration, this ionization energy is decreasing down the group with increase in the atomic size. Nothing but atomic radii is increasing in this one. Next, atomic radii. Already we know down the group atomic radii increasing. As a result, atomic number also increasing down the group. Coming to electron gain enthalpy, in this one, accepting or no, these elements doesn't have any tendency to accept the electrons. Therefore, they are having large positive values of electron gain enthalpies. Due to stable electronic configuration only, they doesn't have any tendency to accept the electrons. That's why here positive values of these elements are increasing. Next one, physical properties. All these noble gases are monoatomic in nature. Monoatomic in nature, and they doesn't have any color, any smell, tasteless. Means odorless, tasteless, colorless. And they are whenever they are reacting with water, they are sparingly soluble in water or dissolving nature is very less to these noble gases. And these are having very low melting and low boiling point. That is due to weak dispersion forces. The weak dispersion forces are one type of interatomic interactions. Due to this one only, they have very low melting and boiling points. One more thing, the helium which is having the lowest boiling point, that is 4.2 Kelvin of any known substances. And if we compare all these noble gases, helium is having very low boiling point, that is 4.2 kelvins. Next, chemical properties. In these chemical properties, already we know the noble gases are very least reactive in nature. When the reactive nature is very less, and in this one, the except helium, all elements having completely filled electronic configuration, that is equals to Ns2 Np6 in their valency shell. And already we saw in this previous one, they have high ionization enthalpy and more positive electron gain enthalpy of these noble gases. Next one is the xenon fluoride compounds. These xenon is forming compounds with fluoride and oxygen. They are forming different types of fluorides like xenon difluoride. It is forming xenon difluoride, xenon tetrafluoride and xenon hexafluoride. These three are the xenon fluoride compounds, and also they will form xenon octafluoride. Next, we will see the xenon fluoride compounds. Those are xenon difluoride, xenon hexafluoride, xenon tetrafluoride and xenon hexafluoride. This is the direct preparation method of these elements under appropriate experimental condition. See, here we used the mixture 2:1 mixture for the preparation of xenon difluoride, and this one is prepared at 673 kelvins and pressure is 1 bar. Whenever this xenon reacting with the fluorine with 1:5 mixture at 873 Kelvin at 7 bars, it is forming the xenon tetrafluoride. By using the 1:20 mixture of this xenon and fluorine at 573 kelvins at 60 to 70 bar pressure, it is forming the xenon hexafluoride. These are the preparation methods of xenon difluoride, xenon tetrafluoride and xenon hexafluoride. Next one is the xenon hexafluoride. This can be prepared by the interaction of xenon tetrafluoride with dioxide difluorine. These two are reacting at 143 Kelvin temperature. It is forming the xenon hexafluoride. This is another method of preparation of xenon hexafluoride, and also it is forming the oxygen. Okay. Next one, properties. We know these three, xenon F2, xenon tetrafluoride, xenon hexafluoride, these are colorless crystalline solids, and at 298 kelvins they will be sublimed to gases. Means sublimation is nothing but conversion of solid to gas. This is the sublimation. So these xenon fluorides, they will sublime at 298 Kelvin temperature. And one more thing, they are very powerful fluorinating agents and also used as oxidizing agents. These xenon fluorides are used as oxidizing agents. Next one, these xenon fluorides react with fluoride ion acceptors like PF5, phosphorus pentafluoride, SBF5 and MF. MF here metal like sodium, potassium, rubidium or cesium. They will react with xenon hexafluoride. They will form the cationic species and also fluoroanions. In the same manner, this xenon difluoride reacts with phosphorus pentafluoride. It is forming the cationic species along with one fluoroanions. In the same manner, xenon tetrafluoride reacting with SBF5, it is also forming the cationic species with fluoride ion acceptors like SBF5. These are forming the fluoroanions. Next one, these are the structures of xenon difluoride, xenon tetrafluoride and xenon hexafluoride. Xenon, this first one is the xenon difluoride. See here, this xenon difluoride, the hybridization is sp3d. This is came from the electronic configuration. The ground state electronic configuration, that is, see, ground state electronic configuration of this xenon F2 is, in the 5s orbital we have 2 electrons. In the p orbital we have total 6 electrons. 6 electrons present in the 5p orbital. This is in the ground state electronic configuration. Coming to excited state electronic configuration. In the excited state electronic configuration, one of the electron that is present in the p orbital, that will be excited to the d orbital. So in the p orbital, one electron present as a unpaired electron. In the d orbital we have one unpaired electron. So the hybridization is sp3d. This is the 5s, 5p and this is the 5d. So these are showing the sp3d hybridization. In the s orbital we have 2 electrons. In the p orbital we have total 5 electrons. In the d orbital we have 1 electron. See, according to Vesper theory, in this one we have total 5 electron pairs. 5 electron pairs present in this xenon difluoride. 5 electrons means here we have 3 lone pairs and 2 bond pairs. The unpaired electrons present in the p orbital, p orbital and in the d orbital. These 2 electrons are involved in the formation of bond with the fluorine atom. As a result, we are getting the structure like this. This is the structure of xenon difluoride. See, the 3 lone pairs present in the equatorial position and the 2 bond pairs are present at the apical position to the central atom. So, the structure of this one is linear and the geometry of this xenon difluoride is trigonal bipyramidal geometry. Trigonal bipyramidal is the geometry of the xenon difluoride. Coming to xenon tetrafluoride. This xenon tetrafluoride, this is the structure of the xenon tetrafluoride. In this one, the ground state electronic configuration, that is same for the xenon. But coming to excited state electronic configuration, in this one xenon tetrafluoride, the second excited state is present. In the s orbital, we have 2 electrons. In the p, see, in the s orbital we have 2 electrons. In the p orbital, another electron from the p, that is excited to the d orbital. So we get 4 unpaired electrons and remaining 2 present as a lone pair. So total electron pairs are 6 electron pairs. In this one, in these 6 electron pairs, 2 lone pairs is present and remaining are bond pairs. Remaining 4 are bond pairs. These bond pairs present at the equatorial position and the 2 lone pairs is present, These 2 lone pairs present at the apical position to the central atom of xenon. So the structure of this xenon tetrafluoride is square planar. This is the square planar structure for xenon tetrafluoride and the hybridization is sp3d2. Why? Because another electron from the p orbital, that is also excited to the d. That's why the hybridization is sp3d2. Next one is the xenon hexafluoride. This is the xenon hexafluoride. The xenon hexafluoride ground state electronic configuration is same. Coming to excited state electronic configuration, in the s orbital we have 2 electrons. In the p orbital, another electron also excited to the d. In the s we have 2 electrons. In the p we have 3 unpaired electrons. In the d also we have 3 unpaired electrons. From this p orbital, from this 5p, another electron also excited to the d. So in this one, the excited state electronic configuration, that is third excited state. In the xenon hexafluoride, third excited state is involved in the electronic configuration. See, in this one we have electronic pairs like 7 electron pairs present in this one. 7 electron pairs. In these 7 electron pairs, we have 1 lone pair, remaining are bond pairs. We have 6 bond pairs. These 6 bond pairs are involved in the formation of the bond with the fluorine atoms. Means these are the electrons of xenon. In the bond formation, the fluorine atom containing one electron that is involving with these central xenon electrons. As a result, they forming a pair. This pair is involved in the bond formation. That is, this bond is formed by using one electron from the xenon, another electron from the fluorine. This is the hybridization and electronic configuration of the xenon hexafluoride. Now we will see the hybridization, that is sp3d3. This is the hybridization of the xenon hexafluoride, and the structure is distorted octahedral. Why? Because in this one we have one lone pair. Due to the presence of this lone pair, the structure is distorted octahedral. Next, all these three are the structures of the xenon. Next one is the xenon oxygen compounds. In this xenon oxygen compounds, we have xenon O3 and xenon O4, xenon trioxide and xenon tetroxide, and these two are xenon OF4 and xenon O2F2. These two are xenon oxygen containing fluorine compounds or xenon oxyfluoride compounds. These xenon trioxide, on hydrolysis of the xenon F4 and xenon hexafluoride with water, that is giving the xenon trioxide. This is the preparation method of the xenon trioxide. See this xenon trioxide. First, 6 moles of xenon tetrafluoride, that is reacted with the 12 moles of water. Here we are getting 2 moles of xenon trioxide with 4 moles of elemental xenon. By using this reaction, we are getting 24 moles of hydrogen fluoride and 3 moles of oxygen. These are liberated by using this xenon tetrafluoride on hydrolysis. Next one is xenon hexafluoride. On hydrolysis, it is giving the xenon trioxide and 6 moles of hydrogen fluoride is formed in this one. See, this xenon trioxide, that is a colorless compound and it is explosive in nature. This is a solid compound and the structure is pyramidal structure. This xenon O3, the aqueous solution of XO3 is forming the xenic acid. Okay, this is by using this one. Okay, xenic acid is the aqueous solution of XO3. This is one of the explosive in nature. Next one, xenon O3, the hybridization and the electronic configuration, that is these are the d orbitals p and s. In this one, the s orbital having 2 electrons, p orbital having 6 electrons, d doesn't have any electrons in the ground state electronic configuration. This is the ground state electronic configuration. Coming to excited state electronic configuration, whenever oxygen is there, it is forming the 2 bonds with the xenon. 2 bonds. 2 bonds means one is pi bond, another one is a sigma bond. In this one, we have to use only sigma bonds and we have to neglect the pi bond forming unpaired electrons. This is the excited state electronic configuration. In the s orbital, we have 2 electrons. In the p, this is involving in the third excited electronic configuration. In the excited state, d also having 3 unpaired electrons this is the 5p, this is the 5s. See, in this one xenon O3 we have 3 oxygens. 3 oxygens means 3 pi electrons are used for the formation of the pi bond. These are used for pi bond. These 3 electrons are used for the pi bond formation. Next one, the hybridization is sp3. We have to consider only these. Why? Because remaining 3 electrons are involving in the pi bond formation with the central atom. That's why we are neglecting the 3 electrons which are present in the d orbital. That's why the hybridization is sp3 hybridization, and the structure is pyramidal structure. Okay, pyramidal structure. In this one we have one lone pair. The shape is pyramidal shape, and the geometry, that is tetrahedron geometry. It is like tetrahedron geometry. Next one is xenon O4. This is also similar to xenon trioxide. Instead of one lone pair, this xenon tetroxide have 4 oxygens. Xenon tetroxide. The structure of this xenon tetroxide, that is tetrahedron structure, and this xenon O4 excited state electronic configuration is, in the S we have 1 electron, in the P we have single electrons, in the D also we have 4 unpaired electrons. These 4 unpaired electrons are involved in the pi bond formation. Why? Because xenon tetroxide, that is having 4 oxygens. 4 oxygens means it is forming the 4 pi bonds. So the hybridization of this xenon tetroxide, that is sp3. Hybridization, xenon tetroxide hybridization is sp3. This is the structure, that is tetrahedron structure. Next one is xenon oxytetrafluoride and xenon dioxydifluoride. On partial hydrolysis of this xenon hexafluoride, it is forming the xenon oxytetrafluoride, and this xenon hexafluoride, by using 2 moles of water on hydrolysis, it is forming the xenon dioxydifluoride, and also it is producing hydrogen fluoride. See, this xenon oxytetrafluoride, that is a colorless volatile liquid. This one is the liquid, and xenon fluoride compounds are solid in nature, and this has a square pyramidal structure. We will see the structure. And one more thing, this xenon oxytetrafluoride, this is the first oxygen containing xenon fluoride. First oxygen containing xenon fluoride compound. Xenon fluoride compound. Now we will see the xenon oxytetrafluoride and xenon dioxydifluoride structure and bonding. See, these are the structures of the xenon dioxydifluoride and xenon oxytetrafluoride. The xenon oxytetrafluoride and the xenon dioxydifluoride having the hybridizations sp3d and sp3d2. See, the xenon dioxydifluoride, that is xenon O2F2. In this one we have 2 oxygens. 2 oxygen means in this one there is a formation of two pi bonds. See, I am writing the excited state electronic configuration. Why? Because the ground state electronic configuration that is same for all the xenon compounds. S, P and in the d orbital, see, in the s orbital we have 2 electrons. Coming to p orbital, in this one 3 unpaired electrons are present and 3 unpaired electrons are excited to the d orbital. In this d orbital, 2 electrons are involved in the pi bond formation. These 2 electrons are involved in the pi bond formation. Then the remaining electrons are involved in this forming bond with the xenon sigma bonds. So the hybridization is sp3 and d. Hybridization is sp3d. Next, see this xenon dioxide difluoride. The molecule structure or geometry, xenon dioxide. In this one we have one lone pair that is present at the equatorial position. This is the structure of the xenon dioxide difluoride. The geometry is looking like a trigonal bipyramidal geometry. In this one, these two oxygens and this lone pair present at the equatorial position. The remaining 2 fluorine atoms which are forming the bond with xenon, those are present at the apical position. Fluorines present at the apical position and oxygens, 2 oxygens and one lone pair present at the equatorial position. This is about the xenon dioxide difluoride and it is having the seesaw shape. Geometry is trigonal bipyramidal. Next one, xenon oxy tetrafluoride. Already we know the xenon oxy tetrafluoride, that is first compound, first oxygen containing xenon fluoride compound. See, in this one, ground state electronic configuration of xenon is same and the excited electronic configuration is, in the S we have 2 electrons, in the P we have 3 unpaired electrons, in the d orbital also we have 3 unpaired electrons. From this p orbital, the paired electrons that will be excited to the d orbital. This is the phi s, phi p and phi d. In this one, the hybridization is sp3d2. Why? Because the one electron which is involved in the pi bond formation of this oxygen, that is involved in the pi bond formation. Well, you have to remember one thing, whenever xenon bonded with the oxygen, here involving of 4 electrons are taking place in this xenon to oxygen bond. Xenon to fluorine, the bond is involved with 2 electrons. Okay, 2 electrons are involved in the xenon to fluorine bond. Xenon to oxygen bond is forming with 4 electrons. So, one oxygen is present. Here, the 1 electron is involved in the pi bond formation. The remaining phi s, phi p and phi d 2 electrons is present in the 5D, no? These are involved in the hybridization. The hybridization is sp3d2 hybridization, and the shape is square pyramidal shape. This is about the xenon fluorides, xenon oxides and xenon oxyfluorides. We completed the xenon compounds. Now we are discussing about the clathrate compounds. These clathrate compounds, in this one we have host guest interaction. Host is noble gas. All the noble gases like argon, krypton, xenon, these three are used as a guest, and remaining other compounds are used as a host. Means in this clathrate compounds we have host guest interaction. In this clathrate compound, noble gases are trapped in the cavities in the crystal lattice of other compound. The crystal lattice of the host. Noble gases like argon, krypton and xenon. These three are trapped in the cavities of the host. This is the guest, and this cavity or the lattice is acting as the host. And the gases, these noble gases, this is the noble gas, this is present in the cavity. This is the cavity. Okay, these gases present in these cavities, they don't form any bond with these cavities. These noble gases doesn't form any bonds with this cavity. Why? Because these are not considered as a chemical compounds or true compounds. These clathrate compounds are prepared by using the beta quinol and argon gas. See in this one, beta quinol. This beta quinol is acting as a host, and this argon is acting as a guest. Okay, the interaction of these host and guest, we are obtaining the clathrate compounds. Next, this is the structure of clathrate compound. See, this is the guest, argon noble gas is the guest, and this is the host. Host is beta quinol. Beta quinol is acting as a host. In between host and guest we have one cavity. This cavity that is used for guest, but there is a no bond formation in between the guest and to this crystal. This is the structure of clathrate. Instead of argon we can write krypton or xenon. We can write any of these three noble gases as a guest, but helium and neon, due to the small size of those two elements, they will easily escape from this cavity. That's why only argon, krypton and xenon, these three noble gases are used as a guest in the clathrate compounds. Next, the conditions for these clathrate compounds. Size of the guest. Guest is nothing but noble gases like argon, krypton and xenon. These three noble gases are acting as a guest in the clathrate compounds. The size of the guest and the size of the cavity in the crystal lattice of host, that should be matched, or that will be equal. Then only the clathrate compound that will get the stability. For example, beta quinol, this is acting as a host and this is reacting with the argon. This argon is the guest. Then it will forms the clathrate compound. Clathrate compound. In this one, the size of the host and size of the guest, these two will be equal. Then only we get a stable clathrate compound. Cavity of the host will be equals to the size of the guest. Then we get the stable clathrate compound. See, helium and neon, due to the small size, they doesn't form any clathrate compounds. The small size that will helpful for this helium and neon for the escaping from the cavities. See, if helium and neon is there, they will easily escape from this cavity. This is the cavity. They will easily escape from this cavity. That's why the small size helps the gases to escape from the cavities. So we are using only 3 noble gases. Those are used as a guest in the clathrate compounds. Next one, types of clathrate compounds. We have in these types of clathrate compounds, we have gas hydrates and quinol clathrates. These gas hydrates are one of the types of clathrate compounds. In this one, argon, krypton, xenon, they form these types of hydrates. Means they form the gas hydrates. Whenever reacting with the water, they will form the gas hydrates. Okay, argon, krypton, xenon form these hydrates with water, generally known as gas hydrates. The general formula of these gas hydrates, that is 5.75 H2O and G. Here G is the noble gas, that may be argon, krypton or xenon. Any of these 3 gases can act as a gas hydrates. Next one is the quinol clathrates. In this one also we are using argon, krypton, xenon noble gases as a for the formation of the clathrate compounds. In this one, these 3 noble gases, they will form the clathrates by dissolving in the saturated solution of quinol. Means these 3 noble gases will dissolve in the saturated solution of quinol, then only they will form the quinol clathrates. Next one, uses. Uses of noble gases or uses of these clathrate compounds. These clathrate compounds is useful for the separation of noble gases. For example, helium and neon, they will easily escape from the cavity and we can easily separate the argon, krypton, xenon based on the size of that gas. Next one, xenon, that is used in anesthesia. Okay, xenon that is used as a anesthesia, and this is the types of clathrates and uses of the clathrate compounds. Next one, anomalous behavior of helium. This helium, gaseous helium, on cooling below 4.2 Kelvin, that is converted to liquid. Gaseous helium is converted to liquid. This is on cooling. If we cool the gas, it will convert it to liquid. See, the normal gaseous helium is converted to liquid helium, that is helium-1, which on further cooling, again this liquid helium is cooled to 2.2 Kelvin. It is converted to helium-2. 2. This liquid helium, which is in the +1 oxidation state, which on further cooling to 2.2 Kelvin at 1 atmospheric pressure is used at this place, and this liquid helium 1 is converted to liquid helium 2. The acquired helium 2, this is known as the superfluid. This is known as superfluid. Helium 2 is used as a superfluid, and here we are cooling the normal gaseous helium up to 2.2 Kelvin, then only we are getting the superfluid. Next one, uses of noble gases. These noble gases like helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. These are used in different methods. See, helium, whenever it is present with the oxygen, this helium plus oxygen gas that is used by divers for respiration. Next one is the neon. This neon gas that is used in lamps for illumination. Means we are using this neon gas in the advertising lamps, like any lamp, if this is one of the color, this lamp is illuminated by using the neon gas. Next one, argon. This gas is used in filled in tungsten lamps. Argon gas that is used for the filling in tungsten lamps. Next one, krypton 85 clathrate. This provides a safe and useful source of beta radiation. Beta radiation, we can use krypton 85 clathrate, and we are using the xenon 133 clathrate. This is used as a source of gamma radiation. See, for beta radiation we are using the krypton, for gamma radiation we are using the xenon clathrate. Next one, radon. This radon is a radioactive element that is prepared by the radioactive decay. Mainly we are using the alpha decay. Whenever alpha decay is there, then alpha particle is released from that radioactive decay. Here the radioactive decay of 226 isotope of radium, that is producing the radon. That's why this radon is having the radioactive nature. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity.